Court is calling 2020 CR 3640 State versus Iyesha Esparza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Second Dallas, the state.
Martin Dara, attorney for Iyesha Esparza.
And are you Ms. Esparza?
Yes, sir.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Are you the same Iyesha Esparza who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 3640 for the offense of retaliation on August 5th, 2020 for a term of 5 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Violation of condition number 2, on or about the 31st day of December 2021 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Iyesha Esparza did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court supervision officer and or duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True. We waive and abandon the remainder, sir.
Any objections?
No objection.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 2, the court could find you true, grant the motion, find you guilty, and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 2? Court will find violation of condition number 2 true. And defense, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're respectfully asking that you follow the recommendation of probation, which was to deny the state's motion, continue her on her deferred an extension of 2 years. They're recommending a 90-day jail sanction. That's the one thing that we differ on.
Mhm.
We are hoping that she'd be able to do a GPS monitor, partial house arrest, so she'll either be at work or at home. Additionally, I can tell you the recommendation from probation was also alter and amend to add the drug patch for 9 months, zero tolerance probation, ISP for 1 year, then supervised by HRC unit, MRT class, healthy relationships class, and that she will report by person for all future visits.
All right, so any objections to the court review and the court summary?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, they send it to me by email. I just don't look at it until people tell me it's okay. So let me look. All right, what I can tell everybody, the fact that probation is saying they want a 90-day jail sanction, that tells me that they really don't want to continue you, right? So what I am going to have to find out from you is why you're not doing well on probation. And it appears from looking at the probation is that there's some issues with marijuana use. I know that neither party is going on that, so I'm not accepting that as true, but I'm just telling you what appears to be going on. So you want to raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give would be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Iyesha Esparza.
All right, why are you not doing well on probation?
I had a bad time in 2022 and made some bad decisions, Your Honor.
Why are you making bad decisions when you know you could go to prison for 10 years?
I was suffering from marijuana, from alcoholism.
All right, so let me just tell you, that's really not a good reason to come to me with that. You know why? Because I always ask everybody if they have any issues, they can let probation know they're having issues or come to me if they feel as though probation is not addressing those issues.
I understand that.
So,
And I did make a mistake.
well, no, you make choices because everybody knows you're not allowed to use marijuana while you're on probation. If you decide to use marijuana while you're on probation, you're making choices. If there is an addiction involved, for example, if you're on probation and you're using cocaine, yeah, you're making a choice, but I understand that sometimes people are addicted, right? So in this court, I always tell people, if you feel as though you're going to use, if you feel as there's an issue, let probation know. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm going to use, cocaine today. Cocaine is calling my name. I'm not going to be able to stop. I'm going to use it. I always tell them, let probation know. And then what I will do is probation will have you come in here because your attorney will tell you I've had compliance hearings and it's what can we do to get you back on track? You understand? And I'm looking at the court summary. You've been missing in action. Where have you been?
Nervous.
I don't know. Don't be I mean, I can easily say, don't be nervous. I understand why you're nervous because you're looking at 10 years in prison. So I'm trying to figure out where have you been? Because I'm looking at the court summary.
I was scared to turn myself in, Your Honor.
Mhm.
I just started a job in July of 2022, and I went to counseling. I was diagnosed with bipolar depression. I got on medications until I was pregnant in February of 2023. I've been doing good since, and I was just scared to turn myself in.
Well, that's a problem. All right. Anyone else has any other questions?
Your Honor, if I may.
And then, and also counsel, if you can see on the court summary, the issues with her during Zoom office visits, if you can also address that as well.
Yes, sir. I can ask you some questions.
Sure.
Now you talked about the substance abuse. You talked about the mental health issues, but I'm just curious, do you dispute the descriptions? I mean, do we get a chance to go through this court summary in detail?
Yes.
And you recall those descriptions of your interactions with probation on Zoom?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have, let me ask you this, was it a false representation of what happened?
No.
And do you think that that interaction at the time, was that, well, are you the same person that you were then?
No.
I mean, you mentioned a couple of things that changed. One was getting your job. And then it was the medication as well.
Yeah.
When you got the job, that was at South Texas Podiatry. And Your Honor, I do have letters printed out. These letters are from one of the primary physicians at South Texas Podiatry. I've already shared these with
Any
her.
objection?
No objection, Judge.
And another letter is from Lisa Bing, the area manager at South Texas Podiatry. And a third letter from her cousin.
All right. Let me read this. And just so state is aware, I did have the defense counsel send this to me because it was in his phone to print it out, but I didn't read any of it.
Your Honor.
So, and are these letters that the defendant provided to you?
Yes, sir. To be clear, I'm not asking for the state to withdraw the motion and issue a letter of apology. She knows full well that she made those bad choices, and that's why she's here today. But I think when you read the descriptions from the court summary talking about her disorderly appearance and her behavior, it is a completely opposite from what you can hear in the letters reflected from her employer. I mean, she has basically turned her life around totally in terms of not having any issues with drugs or alcohol. She's completely willing to be tested today and come up clean. She has basically been able to not only get gainfully employed, but make a difference at the practice where she works to such an extent that they, quite frankly, were worried that if anything were to happen, if she were to get locked up, that the practice would suffer. And I think that's reflected in the letters. They did not know about all of her legal problems until more recently. But again, they were surprised to hear about it because of the type of person, how she conducts herself. She's made arrangements, Your Honor, in the event that she weren't going to be extended on probation, on deferred adjudication, made arrangements for her kids. But at the same time, I do think that the community's interests would best be served, though, if she were to be held accountable and sanctioned, but also strictly supervised. I mean, fortunate for her, she's not a seasoned veteran, has many encounters with the criminal courts. I think she has one prior deferred on a misdemeanor case. But I think she knows right now how serious everything is. And again, what happened back in 21 and 22, I think is more a product of her lack of mental health treatment, or lack of any type of treatment for substance abuse that she had with alcohol and marijuana. And you are correct. She could have asked for that help, but she spoke honestly today. She got scared, especially after February of 2023 is when she was mostly scared about being taken away from her newborn. Again, Your Honor, you can strictly supervise her, you can hold her accountable, but you can also serve the community's interests by making sure she doesn't make these mistakes. She's completely amenable to doing a strict period of supervision. In fact, we spoke already about many of the different conditions which you could add, in addition to the ones that are being recommended by probation, whether it's field visits or weekly meetings, a patch, drug testing. I mean, any of those things, I think you would see that she is not the same person that she was back in 2020, 2021, and 2022. It's been a complete turnaround. And I just think I would hate to see a situation where she is removed from her home. And now we have, kids without their mom. We have a young woman that's going to lose her home.
Well, I will tell you this. If you end up getting revoked and going to prison, it's completely your fault. You understand? And if you drug tested today, what are the results going to be? All right, I want a drug test today. She's going to go to, you have your ID? All right, you're going to go do your drug test today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Miss Abrams, she is going to go do a drug test with felony drug court. All right. And can you give her the address? All right, and Vashon? All right, Kenneth Howie? Yes. So I am awaiting a response from the AG's office.
Okay.
So I've told them that the time, Kenneth Howie?
No, he's not that.
Oh, is he in the back? Oh, okay, I understand. Thank you. So just 1 second. All right, so what we'll do is we'll recall this. Hopefully next week I will have a response from them. Let me see. I think I included you in that email as
Yes.
well. So I'm just waiting.
And Judge, it's my understanding from talking to the court staff
Mhm.
that the state's only recused itself off of one case, which is the newly indicted case and not the MTR case.
Oh, they have to be recused off the indicted case as well. So,
But they're.
all right, so
We need to get them recused on both cases, get somebody on both cases so we can start rolling on this case. Our request from both the state and the court.
state,
Yes.
and here's my thing. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna call this back. This should be done by no later than April 7th. So it's coming back on April 7th. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one more, but I'm not sure if it's next.
Oh, who is the next one?
Mr. Pilkilton, Sean Pilkilton.
Haven't brought up.
Sean.
Let me just put this in the system. All right. And you said Plooking?
Pilkilton.
All right, what's happening with this case?
Judge, I am going to be filing a motion, as I'm sure you're going to be requiring it. I am asking the court, or will be, to withdraw from its case because I believe I have a conflict of interest.
Okay.
I have a client that is not in this court, but charged with an offense, and the client in that court is indicating that there's a conflict with Mr. Pilkilton.
All right. Do you understand there's a conflict that this attorney has?
I do.
Are you going to object to his withdrawing?
I understand it's conflict of interest and it would be in his best interest to do something like that legally, so.
Okay, you're whispering. I can't hear
I
you.
totally agree. I understand.
Right. And do you have any objections?
No.
All right, so you're withdrawing.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, Let's hold him for this afternoon. We'll see if we can have an attorney. Are you appointed or retained?
Appointed judge.
All right, let's hold Mr. Pilkington for this afternoon and see if Matt can have an attorney brought over for him. All right, thank you. All right, who is here on Brandon Trader? All right, court is calling 2024 CR 010750 State versus Brandon Trader. Can I have parties announced for the record? State,
Arlene Gay for the defendant.
and are you Mr. Trader?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. There are no applications.
No, Your Honor.
Did you review true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, I do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented? All right, let me see if I can find the indictment. Here we are. Did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He's been able to assist me.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, I believe so.
Sir, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 9 months in the Bexar County Jail. There's an $800 fine, and the 9 months in the Bexar County Jail is under 1244. The state will take in consideration 2025 PF 01050. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, it is.
State, is that the plea?
Yes.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
By signing that, you're waiving your right to appeal. The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
ma'am.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No such motions.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence?
No objection.
Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. Can we go off the record for a moment?
Sure.
All right. So where does the methamphetamine come in? Because in the police report, they're saying it's heroin. Yes, please. Sure. And I
I
understand
think in
that.
the presumptive test, it came in
Yeah.
as heroin. And then when it went to the lab,
How did
and
we
I
get to
looked
that
at the,
point?
I looked at the descriptors. I always check what the lab receives as
Mhm.
to what the police report says. And make sure that it's actually, our evidence in the case.
Mhm. You know, it's saying that, but it's odd that they would do a presumptive test and it's presumptively positive for heroin. And
I've
then,
had that before. It is rare, Your Honor. It
Mhm.
is very rare. I actually, most of the time I have the confusion with cocaine and meth.
Mhm. Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, I'm just, I just saw that, but if you all agree that this is meth, then I will go along with that. And the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor, we're waiving PSI.
All right, and when I say I'll go along with that, the stipulations do show that the testing was positive for meth. The police report said it was a presumptive positive for heroin. So the court's concern was that it appeared to be two different drugs on the spectrum
Presumptively
of,
incorrect.
yes, thank you, I like
Um,
that.
But enough for probable cause, but presumptively
Hmm.
incorrect.
All right, so do you wish to proceed with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find you guilty. The court will sentence you to 9 months in the Bear County Jail under 1244. Give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration 2025 PF 01050. And there's also a 2020 PF 11235.
Your Honor, that was dismissed by intake this morning or yesterday. I received the dismissal this morning.
And the 2024 PF 12392.
Yes, same situation. I received those this morning.
Okay. All
And-
right.
and-
Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
Your Honor, he does have 169 days in.
All right. I will give him credit for any time served. All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. There are plenty of places that are free to address your drug issues. If you continue on this path, one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to end up in somebody's jail or prison for the rest of your life or majority of your life, or either somebody's going to be identifying your body. So when you are released, if you can't find a place for treatment, if you come back here, I'll pick up the phone and call somebody for you. All right?
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Good luck to you.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, that's coming back at 1:30. All right, we'll be here. All right, this is the last case, Cody Salazar. And it's the last case until you come back for recess. So anyone else who's remaining, see you back at 1:30. Court is calling 2024 CR 009128 State versus Cody Salazar. Can I have parties announced for the record? State. Defense.
Robert Gear for defendant Cody Salazar, and we're ready, Judge.
And are you Mr. Salazar?
Yes, ma'am.
And probation, this is an application. Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I have, Judge.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Salazar, did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and
Yes,
sign
ma'am.
it? Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No objections, Judge.
Did you review court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you enter a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you understand that the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe that he does,
Do you
Judge.
believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe that he is and was, Judge.
Mr. Salazar, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, there's $1,000 fine, affirmative finding of deadly weapon. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there's to be no contact with Brianna Barrera. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be your plea? Defense, yes or no?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
That is, Judge.
State, is that the plea? Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes,
By signing that, you're waiving your right to appeal. The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
yes,
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
There have not, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 5 years. There'll be 80 hours of community service, restitution, the BIPP course, and TAP evaluation follow all recommendations. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Defense is reviewed, Judge. We have no objections.
All right, and state, have you spoken with the complainant? All right, thank you. You may be excused. Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Nothing other than we would respectfully request that the court follow the plea bargain between the state and defendant.
All right. So is Child Protective Services involved in your life?
No, ma'am.
All right, then what is in the police report about them calling CPS on you?
This was like I think a while back ago, like in 2022. But I mean, they dropped the case like a long time ago, and I mean, I have paperwork at the house saying that they dropped the case. I mean, other than that, I don't really know.
All right, so how many children do you have?
I have as right now 5 that I know
5 that you know of?
of. Yes, ma'am.
That's never a good statement to say 5 that I know of. That means that you are not being responsible and you just may have children out in the world that you don't even know exist. How far did you go in school?
I graduated.
And what type of work have you been doing?
I was doing temp services for my Theo,
Okay.
working for him.
All right. So you're gonna have to get employment.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes,
And it's
ma'am.
not gonna have to be temp. You need employment to take care of the children you have. What are their ages?
There's 5, 4, 3, and then a 7-month. And then basically they're all like basically a year apart now.
Stairs, we call them stair steppers. It's like you're going down the stairs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Or up the stairs. All right, this is what the court is going to do. There's $1,000 fine, probated. Affirmative finding of family violence. Affirmative finding of deadly weapon. There's to be no contact with Brianna Barrera. And when I say no contact, that means you do not call her as as if she is not in your world anymore. You understand?
Ma'am.
So if you all have a child together, which it appears that you do, if you want to see that child, you need to make arrangements through a third party, and hopefully that's somebody who's responsible. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is to be no unsupervised contact minors. And when all of this was happening, were you intoxicated? What was going on?
Yeah, ma'am.
Just angry?
Yeah, well, nah, yeah, or a little bit, yeah.
All right. The BIPP course, TAP evaluation. Have you used drugs in the past?
Yes.
What?
I had used marijuana, but I haven't touched anything.
What else?
That's it, as of right now.
No, not as of right now. I'm asking you in the past, what drugs have you used?
Uh,
So marijuana, what else?
Alcohol, but that's it.
And what else? Just marijuana and alcohol? All right, there's a TAP evaluation out of custody. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once he completes that, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. Field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
No.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Yes,
I need the link of your deferred.
thank you. That is something that is very important. And it will be 5 years deferred adjudication. Thank you. All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. You need to start setting a better example for your children. Now, when you have girls, if they think that you're in a relationship with someone and they see this and they say, oh, dad loves her and he is not nice to her. So that means that when somebody doesn't love you, they're not nice to you. I don't think you want your daughters going off in the world thinking that. And then when you have sons are going to think that's the way you express love to somebody. And let me just tell you, you don't want to have your son or somebody run into a person who won't tolerate that and will meet violence with violence. You understand?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we are going to take our